Hello, Gemini, to your timeless love variant reading where we discuss however love may be absent or present in your life. You may be here because you caught a vibe and seeing whether or not anything within the storytelling time is yours. Please bear in mind a few details before we get into your reading. I am Master 7th, aka 7th, that reads these energies for you. Should you want to know who she is, what she's all about, her details can be found in the description box below. I am a master healer that provides remote wellness and thorough intuitive insights. I have made various links available for you in the description box below if you would like to navigate this channel and or reach my sister channel. This reading will provide you universal justice should you be Gemini in Sun Rising and or Jupiter position. Should it be anywhere else, you may be in search of emotional redemption or just in general could utilize the information and content over my sister channel. The link can be found in the description box below on how to get there. Okay? Feminine and masculine energies are non-gender specific. And this is not a one-to-one reading, all right? So take all of that which belongs to you and leave the rest behind. All right, starting off with the Page of Pentacles, Gemini. All right, some of you are like getting your green thumbs in order, all right? You've done your work with Mother Nature. Maybe farming is your thing, planting, gardening, botany, something with plants. Having to do like herb medicine, herb healing. I'm getting a little aromatherapy, but more so a different route, like using it in products and anything garnished from like something that you've maybe seen grow. You know, I think learning how to feel the value of starting something, seeing something blossom as an individual, excuse me, is something that you've been missing. And if this is not having to do with plants or a garden, this is a journey of a long time coming here, okay? A long time coming of being able to give yourself permission to go into the deeper parts of your life, the maybe rebellious parts of self, and bring them up to play. All right, and you've been able to do that for yourself, and you are learning how to have a very dignified head on your shoulders. Let me tell you that way, in that sense. All right, like you are maybe doing some things as of late that you know you can't really talk about easily with at least anyone in your family, because boy, may they be looking at you like, oh my goodness, how could you, Gemini? Doesn't seem like you. I know. But it did it anyway, you know? It's like, that's that, yeah, good on you, Gemini, good on you. That's where you learn that, you know, shitty people give you permission to see how shitty people can be. And I see a lot of you not choosing to be that shit of a person. So consider that, you know, more or less, you're not really going to end up in the most shittiest of situations because you're not a shitty person. See it from that perspective if you can. Queen of Cups, being gentler to the things that are unknown of you. All right, being gentler to the things you can't see about yourself, but maybe there are parts of you. You know, maybe you're learning parts that you entertain. And you're like, oh, that was fun, but I don't know if I can do that all the time. That's okay. You're stowing it away. You've entertained it, and that's important, because if you didn't, the hunger to entertain it would have been even more destructive than not experiencing it and then just saying, I don't need it anymore. That's emotional maturity. All right, yeah, look at that. Emotional maturity over the Four of Wands. That's remaining in your lane, figuring out shit, to experiencing lane, going up some speed bumps, seeing some dead ends, doing a detour, running the red light by accident, stopping accidental on a green light, you know, K-turns, U-turns. So much shit can happen when you're driving down the road of all possibilities, you know, but it's you driving down the road of all possibilities that makes the adventure that it is. So some of you have been like a backseat driver and just recently learned, I ain't gonna be that backseat driver anymore. I'm gonna at least know the manufacturer of the fucking car or be the fucking driver. Bling bling. So good on you, Gemini. Good on you. Good on you. Emotional maturity, strength card. Y'all didn't want to believe me. But here she is. Emotional strength card here. All right. This has been a journey 3 times fold to tell you and show you, yeah, emotions are shit, alright? Yeah, they can be beautiful, but boy, do you not linger in the thought of crazy emotional analysis because they're all euphorically blissful. No, for that you would have let them go and moved on to the next adventure. Mm. Someone could use like a a dip in the water, okay? A pool of water, not an actual pool, not a man-made pool, but a Mother Nature's pool. Something in nature. Here, the sun. Look at that. Yeah, y'all don't want to believe that this situation that you're in is. Oh man, does that have a good purpose? There's a good purpose. There might be just you're chasing a single. You're chasing a single narrative. I do see that. Whether that's understanding why you're single or chasing a single person, I see that. But there are too many factors distracting you from getting closer to that single notion. All those have to do with yourself. So you need to figure that one out. Excuse me. You figure that out with resources, okay? Resources, yeah. The Chariot card, resources. Those resources are met with the experiences that you've caught yourself doing over the last few years. You know, nothing has really been permanent. I feel that. But you also didn't want anything to be of a permanent stance. And that's something that you may need to remind yourself of that possible mindset when you took on this journey. When you took on this journey, you didn't want to have any kind of permanency. And yet there may be individuals within this unfolding of self that come across as the type of individuals to be permanent. Yet I think there's aspects of you where you still see yourself evolving in more ways than one. And that should give you permission to accept that you're not done yet with the draft of your story. The first initial draft isn't done. So if the first initial draft isn't done yet, and you asking for the singleness to be read completely, you're going to get mixed messages. This could also be, you know, if you're trying to work on a project and you have too many people that you go to figure out how to perfect this first draft, then I think you're also going to take yourself further away from the opportunity of finishing this first draft because you're too codependent on utilizing other people's ways of doing before just getting it out there. It's like writing a story, or that's not even essay story. It's like writing a poem, okay? And you write a poem that's however many words long, and it's done. And you, the writer of these words, call it a poem. Then you go to a workshop of some kind, and you have other people. The quest is showing each other the poetry, and then someone looks at your work and then critiques it that, you know, there's a certain rhyme and pattern that's not happening within the poem, or that it is happening too much, or that doesn't make sense, or they would word it this way or cut certain out this way. Like, and this person is saying, well, I think it's happening this way because, or you should do these things this way because I went to school and I studied poetry. So now you're in competition between an expert poet and you, the poet. The problem with the situation is that someone shouldn't critique your work when you were just wanting to present it. The way you presented it was the original creation. And it's not about it being understood, but that's what you turned in. And if you turned it in then that's a beautiful consideration exactly the way it is. It's not the same as like if you're going to school and you have a certain, covered like points that you're supposed to cover in a research paper. You didn't cover any of those points. You talked about something else. That's not the point of this message, all right? The point is to be proud of something because you created it, and then you want to share it, and then you have other people critiquing that one thing that you wanted to share, and then you feel like you have to second guess everything that you just did. That's a false sense of community. The person who's a master of being a poet would know that about themselves, not to critique and change every element of what they think you could change just because you showed up to them and asked for their opinion. They should also be humble enough to understand certain moments when it's the time and when it's not. Do we operate in a perfect world like that? Nope. But we'll be closer to that if we understand our own value. And then dictate our life and our experiences and be around momentous moments of people, places, and things who make us safe for that feeling of ours. Page of Cups. Interesting. I'm seeing somebody wanted to establish a better relationship with their sibling. So obviously this may just definitely only resonate if you have a sibling, okay? I'm also hearing of news. There is a lost sibling, so someone may be introduced to you in regards to being your sibling that you didn't know was. Hermit. Your journey continues, Gemini. You are not done yet with the first cycle of the first wave. However that means to you, okay? Let's see what's working against you, Gemini. What's working against you? We have blame is working against you, Gemini. I accept responsibility for my well-being. Blame is working against you. I was just going to say what's working against you besides you, Gemini. You blame yourself way too much. What else is working against you? Loneliness. I know that I'm never alone. Being too isolated, which is interesting considering also the Hermit is here. I think that maybe this is about you can't really control how like anti-social or social you can be due to some of the ways that you just are maneuvering from the day to day. So the Hermit is here to tell you that the last straw that you do have that's all yours is that spiritual, esoteric search of wisdom for self. However that applies to your acceptance of the narrative and your unfoldings in life, and that in that way you might feel lonely because And that's because you're still not done yet, again, with that first wave of cycle. Yeah, you're just not done yet. The cycle is not over. And you might be working on this for a few years now. It's not over yet. It's just not over. And don't worry so long of when or how long it's going to be over, because if you're going to stay in that mood, it's going to take even longer. Just know you're not over. It's not over yet. And we have fears working against you. I realize that I'm testing my resolve to live in the energy of love. Fear is working against you. Okay, so yeah, it's a lot of self-sabotaging energy, self-blame, self-hatred, self-devaluing. That's working against you at this time. That's not, however, what you've learned up to this point. And I think once you accept that part, you'll learn how to accept this resistance and finally let go of it. All right. I'm wishing you a wonderful morning, noon, or night, wherever you are in the ether of this time and space. May you keep flowing, growing, and glowing. Take care.